Welcome back, everybody, to the channel. It's me, Alejandro Mendoza, or the Nerd Chicano. Either way, how you say it, it's all good here. And we're back again for another review as we continue looking at our current box set, the Koker Trilogy from Abbas Kiarostami, that is brought to us by the Criterion Collection. Last week, we looked at the first film in the trilogy, Where is the Friend's House? And today, we're going to continue on with the trilogy as we look at his next film, And Life Goes On, or also known as Life and Nothing More. Of course, if you enjoy content about physical media or reviews on movies and TV shows or any of that wonderful stuff, make sure that you subscribe to this YouTube channel and you turn on that beautiful notification bell so you don't miss a single piece of content that comes to the channel. Make sure you leave a like on this video, and also if you want to give a helping hand, I am on Patreon at patreon.com/nerdchicano. Make sure you check out the Patreon for exclusives and early access to videos just like this one. But enough of that, let's go ahead and get into today's video. I loved Where is the Friend's House, and today we're going to go ahead and look at this film. But before we can get into any of that, let's look at this wonderful little introduction from Criterion.com. In the aftermath of the 1990 earthquake in Iran that left 50,000 dead, Abbas Kiarostami returned to Koker, where his camera surveys not only devastation but also the teeming life in its wake, blending fiction and reality into a playful, poignant road movie. And Life Goes On follows a film director who, along with his son, makes the trek to the region in hopes of finding out if the young boys who acted in Where's the Friend's House are among the survivors, and discovers a resilient community pressing on in the face of tragedy. Finding beauty in the bleakest of circumstances, Kiarostami crafts a quietly majestic ode to the best of the human spirit. Included in this edition from Criterion Collection, you get a new 2K digital restoration with uncompressed monaural soundtrack on the Blu-ray, new audio commentary featuring Mehmas Saivaifa and Jonathan Rosenbaum, co-authors of Abbas Kiarostami. Abbas Kiarostami, Truths and Dreams, a 1994 documentary, new interview with scholar Hamid Nafisi, and a new English subtitle translation. So this is also the second time that I am watching And Life Goes On. Of course, I watched this the first time when I had received the set from my friend Brad, and I was pleasantly surprised, and I was shocked at the incredible work that Abbas Kiarostami does in this film. He has this way of blending reality and fiction, narrative, and documentary, whereas at times it feels like Abbas Kiarostami is trying to go beyond the screen. He's trying to talk directly to you through the lens of trying to make you wonder, is this a documentary or is this a narrative? Because there's many times in this film where it really feels like this could be coming from a documentary. And that's something that Abbas Kiarostami isn't a stranger to at all. You see it a lot in his films like Close Up, and of course you see him channeling the road movie genre in other films like Taste of Cherry. And this is just another one of those examples where he likes to play between the lines of fiction and reality, or narrative and documentary. A lot of the reasons of why I love this film is because of how much it pushes the boundaries of working inside its own narrative structure. And I find that to be so compelling and profound, and it's a reason why I always come out with such a sense of appreciation and love for the filmography and the filmmaking abilities of Abbas Kiarostami when I watch this film. You have such a beautiful story of just a simple story of a father and son who are worried about these people who just went through a terrible earthquake and go out on a road trip to just make sure that they're all okay. It's something that seems so foreign to people, especially in the West, because of our individualistic way of life. But here, it's just common. You know, people are giving each other rides, people are helping each other. Of course, there's some who would rather not take help from others, but there are also people who are in here who are just so appreciative of the help, and they have conversations with each other about what just went on. And a lot of faith has to do with a lot of the conversations that happen in this film, but most of it is about the communal feeling of being together and helping each other through tragedy. And Abbas Kiarostami makes that happen through such a poignant approach to filmmaking in this film. I love the cinematography, the music, and just the way that Abbas Kiarostami constructs his frames and the information within his frames. I mean, this is one of the films where you really do see the example of the Kiarostami style of filmmaking, like his long takes of cars driving up hills and his slow takes of people walking. It's something that has such a very formative look that Abbas Kiarostami forms within this film, and it's just incredible to see on the screen. I think the performances are fantastic. Of course, there's some parts where it's like, okay, this kid is saying this, like these poor people just went through a terrible tragedy and the kid's saying this, but Abbas Kiarostami kind of reminds us that children are so innocent that they don't really have a filter. And if you can just think about how the kids were feeling at this time, they went through tragedy, but they're the first ones who kind of pick their chins up and say, let's go on with the next day. And I find that to just be so profound about this film. It's truly one of the best films ever made, and one of the best films that Abbas Kiarostami created. I can't keep my eyes off of it. I can't stop thinking about it. And I just love everything that goes into the creation of such a beautiful and tender film that leaves you with such a incredible message about helping each other and making sure that we don't get lost within the emotions of life, and we always fall back on the community that we're growing and we're prospering in. In the end, all we have is each other, and we shouldn't grow apart from each other, and we should always make sure that we have our common man's back. Now let's talk about this restoration. So I watched this on my Panasonic 4K player on my TCL 4K TV, and I benefited from some upscaling in there. So I've got to say that this, compared to how I watched it before on an Xbox One on an HD TV, the upscaling helps it out a lot. The resolution looks sharper. I'm not sure if there was a difference between the film stock in the last film and in this one, or maybe they use different lenses or a different camera, but the natural film stock is beautiful on this edition. You have such a beautiful complexion of skin tones, and you're able to take in so much of the landscape and the beauty of that natural lighting that it just presents itself beautifully in this restored version of this film. I also just love how much of the grain they were able to maintain and how it looks like a film from 1992. And I've got to say that the work that was put into here is unimaginable. There's just shots in here that look so crisp that it feels like you could probably film this today in 2022. And I just couldn't stop looking at the screen and looking at all the work that was probably put into making these frames possible. Of course, I can say the same for the audio. The audio track that is our Manonuro soundtrack sounds fantastic. I love the sound effects of the cars coming in, and the noises of water coming out of wells, and rocks and crumbling, and sodas, and all of these things that just make these small sounds that are in the background. They all sound so crisp and nice through this Manonuro soundtrack. Nothing ever feels out of place. Nothing ever feels like it's too loud or too low. Everything sounds clean and crisp. There's no hissing. It sounds like they really did put some good work into this audio restoration. And of course, as I like to say, it's nice when you have equal amounts of work on both video and audio on your restoration, and it's able to show in your film, because one is not more important than the other. I definitely can't say that there was a slight difference in between watching this on a HD TV and a and a 4K TV. And I've got to say that when it comes to seeing this upscaled, I was in love with the images, and it does enhance my viewing experience to be able to see these in such a beautiful, crisp 1080, or maybe like a little bit over 1080p. But it's a wonderful restoration. It's one of the best in this set so far, and I've got to say that it's also accompanied by an incredible film. To keep up to date with me on all things social media, make sure you follow me at The Nerd Chicano on everything: Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, Letterboxd, Serialized, TikTok. It doesn't matter, it's all the same thing, and make sure that you follow because I follow back. Keep up to date with all the things that we do on the Nerdcore by visiting our website, thenerdcore.com, and following us on Twitch and YouTube at The Nerdcore. It's going to be the same handle for both of those channels, so please go check us out, y'all. We're working on some pretty cool stuff. Next week, we're going to look at the final film in the Koker trilogy, and we're going to look at the next set that we're going to be talking about. But in the meantime, I've had a lot of fun talking about this movie with you all. Let me know in the comments what you think about it and Life Goes On. What do you think about the films from Abbas Kiarostami? And what do you think so far about this Koker trilogy set from Criterion Collection? Also, what have y'all been getting on this November sale from Barnes & Nobles? I'm going to be uploading, hopefully, 2 hauls from this for this month, and we'll see if I can get to that. But I'm going to be doing some recommendations as well, so keep an eye out for all that stuff. In the meantime, my wonderful cinephiles and renowned scholars, celebrate the love of cinema today, tomorrow, and every day after. Catch you all in the next one, guys. See you guys.